Here's what's alleged in the indictment. Jeffries and Smith employed James Jacobson to act as a recruiter to find men. Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men.
Yep. PeaCoat Slim. PeaCoat Slim. PeaCoat Slim. Yep. All I do is win. Welcome to PeaCoat In The Morning, starring yours truly, PeaCoat Slim, on the corner of Vine and Nat and B, minding my business. And y'all should be doing the same. Let's get straight to the show, shall we? For the first topic, let's get into it. Don't trick yourself out of your position. This is a prime example of that right here. We have your boy, that's right, your good boy, Karmelo Anthony. No, not that Karmelo Anthony. He just got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Great guy, good scorer, good shooter, as they say. Now we talking about this Karmelo Anthony. Apparently, the story goes, Karmelo Anthony was at a track event. In the track event, there was a rain delay. When the rain delay happened, all of the people, they ran underneath different tents. Karmelo Anthony ran underneath of a tent that was of an opposing team's tent. He sat down. He was on his phone. Apparently, two young Caucasian guys walked over there, young Caucasian boys. I believe they were twins or something to that effect. Two young Caucasian boys walk over there and they start harassing him. They start grabbing him and pushing him and shoving him. Apparently, there were punches thrown. After those punches were thrown, Karmelo Anthony went to his bag and then stabbed the young man, or one of the young men. People are like in outrage, in an uproar. Oh my God, this happened, this, that, and the third. Well, guess what? If you guys are familiar with me, I was one of those main supporters of Kyle Rittenhouse. That's right. I definitely was, and I still am. He had every right to do everything that he did on that day, Mr. Rittenhouse. Just like I believe Karmelo Anthony had every right to do what he did on that day. This happened in Texas. You can stand your ground in Texas. This is not the state that you live in. The state that you live in runs by different rules. The state of Texas runs by different rules. Honestly, here's what I expect the outcome of the case to be. There's going to be a long, drawn-out trial. The trial's going to go for a while. At the end of the trial, the young gentleman, Karmelo Anthony, will be found not guilty. Found not guilty. Now, people want to make this about race, where it's not about race. It's about common sense. Two gentlemen tried to accost the gentleman. The gentleman decided to go to his bag and get something to defend himself. It's obvious he'd been bullied before. Maybe not by these gentlemen, but he was bullied before. Like, what was he supposed to do? Run and go get help? He's being grabbed. He's being accosted. What should he do? He should stand down? He should just let the bullying continue and let the bullies feel like they got over on him? Some say he should be the bigger man. Some say he was the bigger man. He chose to pick up that weapon and he chose to fight back. Society has gotten weak, people. We've gotten weak. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. When you go into a situation and you're the bully in the situation, you cannot sit here, get upset, argue, mad at the final result of your bullying, which then got you hurt. Or worse, killed, unalive, taken out, put on the shelf. Shout out to King Von for that one. But yeah, my question is, what do y'all think? What do y'all think should happen in this situation? I gave you the facts. I didn't even tell you what the witnesses said, because you know when the cops showed up at first, you know whose story was going to get through. It was going to cut through the news. You know whose story was going to cut through the news. But again, there are several witnesses that say that exactly what I said happened. Here's what all the witnesses agree to. All the witnesses agree to that they grabbed him. All the witnesses agreed to that he went in his bag and he stabbed him. That's what all the witnesses agree to. I guess the confusion comes in, why this, why that, why this, why that. If you ask me, you take away the first threat The first reason for this even happening is them walking up to him. They didn't have to. They decided to. And he decided to do what he thought that needed to be done to defend himself. And I'm sorry for how anybody feels about it, but that's how I feel about it. Again, this is coming from somebody, it's documented. Coming from somebody who supported Kyle Rittenhouse through his situation. Because I knew what he was doing was right. It don't matter how he got there, this, that, and the third. Is who provoked who. You play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. Welcome to America, folks. Don't let nobody trick you out your position. This goes farther than anything that I'm going to say. Don't let anybody trick you out of your position. Imagine you have a job working for the government, a district, county job, whatever, right? You work in the HR department and you decide that you know all the rules and stuff and regulations and you know who's your checks and balances. So you decide that you're going to start making fake checks for your unemployed boyfriend. Yeah, that's right. That happened to this lady right here. Watch the video.
I'm honest with you about everything. There are charges against you for this, okay?
Please, no.
Yeah, I can't do anything about that. That's just how it is. Now, we could try to make this work as easy as possible for you. I know you work, but you're going to have to take a day off to go get processed up in Palm Beach County.
Please, no.
Yeah.
Please, no.
Yes.
I have to go to jail for this?
Yes. So what's going to happen is there's one of two things that could happen, okay? I could file for the warrant.
No.
And you don't want me to do that
Please,
because
no.
what happens then is I come here with the Broward Sheriff's Office and we take you from work. I don't want you to lose your job.
I don't want to. I don't want to go to jail.
I know.
Mr. P, please.
I know.
Mrs. Eric, oh my God, please,
I know,
no.
Destiny. I understand.
I cannot go to jail, sir. I cannot go to jail.
So this is option number 2. Okay, this
Please.
is option number 2 is where you meet me up in Palm Beach County. We get you processed and you get out the same day. Okay? As long as you can post your bond.
God.
Now, as y'all see, she tried to plead her case. She tried to plead her case like she could get out of it. Like they were just going to give her a slap on the wrist. Ma'am, you stole taxpayer money. If you work for the district, that means that you getting tax money in order to given to you, the county employee, right? Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Right or wrong? Y'all can question it. You took that, made counterfeit checks, and thought you was going to get away with it? This is like the dude who got the PPP loan and asking people to help him out right now. Man, I live in the DMV. There's this dude, he had the PPP loan and whatever. He went on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or whatever the case. He went on one of them things and he was like, man, I don't know. The PPP loan wasn't come up and, it helped me in my situation at the time and I had a business then. I don't now. Well, if you had a legit business, then you would have been able to get away with the PPP loan. You know what I mean? Because you would have had the documents to show that you are a legit business and that you needed that loan. Now they going to jail. What do you think should happen to her? She was sitting here making fake checks and then want to cry a crocodile. Just, no, I don't want to go. But you know exactly what the hell you did. You stealing. You already know how I feel about scammers. You already know how I feel about that, man. They taking good people money. They tricking good people out of their money. But at the end of the day, isn't everything really a scam? At the end of every video that every social media person got, it's always like, comment, subscribe. It's always send me emojis, gifted, and all that. Like, for what? This information free, baby. Welcome to the Maryland Melatonin Network. For our next story, we're going to talk about one thing and one thing only. How are y'all letting people trick you out of your position? That's right. We sticking with the same theme the whole damn show. Why? Because y'all been letting people trick you out of your position, especially when it comes to this Tesla BS. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of people right now, they hating. They hating on this thing called Doge. Doge is out there tracking down the money that we've been giving these government officials through taxes to figure out where the hell it's going. Who is it supporting? They finding out all types of stuff. All types of stuff. The Nancy Pelosi stuff, the Jasmine Crockett stuff. And we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that. We ain't gonna get into it today, but mark my words, we're gonna make a show about that. The Jasmine Crockett stuff, the Maxine Waters stuff, the Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton stuff. What do I mean by that? Who paid for Chelsea Clinton wedding? Who? Y'all do the research. Y'all do the research. Y'all do the research. Say Maxine was funneling money to her daughter. Allegedly. Allegedly. Who paid for that? Who money were they funneling? How about that? Nobody want to talk about that. All of a sudden, Nancy Pelosi, her stock average, you know what I mean, is like extremely high. What do I mean by that? When she puts her money down on the stock, or her husband put money down on the stock, all of a sudden that stock grow. When the stock is about to lose money, all of a sudden they pull out. There'll be important meetings had and this, that, and the third, and all of a sudden, you know what I mean? Somebody gets a strike from Jesus telling them, oh, we should not put the money there. We should remove it from here and put it here because we know that they're about to get hit with a lawsuit. But how do you know that they're about to get hit with a lawsuit? Because they all cheating. It's people making $175,000 in income a year, supposedly for Congress, and then they got net worths of $500 million. I'm sorry about the billion part, but $500 million. When was that okay, y'all? Did we okay that? Are we the American people okay with that? I know I'm getting sidetracked, but it's these type of things that are happening and this type of information that's coming out, but then people are deciding to attack the person who's telling this information, who's giving this information to you, the American people. Think about that. Nah, we're gonna attack the person who told the truth and told what happened with your money, instead of the people who are doing whatever they want and stealing and moving and allegedly doing all this stuff with your money. That's what we're gonna do. Man, get out of here. Y'all don't even know how to protest right. Y'all don't even know how to protest right. Y'all gotta remember, back when the civil rights times was going on, they was protesting, walking the streets. Want me to tell you why? Because they felt that the people who were the biggest problem were the people in their own community. They felt if they could change what was going on in their own community, they could fix the situation. How? They'll march in their own community where the white people wouldn't allow the black people to be, or the whites only area. They'll do sit-ins in the whites only areas. You know what I mean? These stupid motherfuckers doing this vandalism to the Tesla cars, like the Tesla cars ain't got cameras on them to show your face. They protesting the wrong thing. They protesting hardworking people who spent their good money to get the car. Like, come on, man. It's a driving recording device. It's a driving streaming app, pretty much. Think of it that way. You got people keying, scarring up cars with their kids and all that. Support this. This is protesting. How's it protesting? Real question. What has Elon Musk really done to you? You at home, the American people, what has Elon Musk done to you? You say, oh, he's going to have my social if he's in the White House. The man was working for PayPal. I think he's one of the creators of PayPal. You probably use PayPal right now. Back then, I was using PayPal when he had it. Talking about the socials, this, that, and the third. What's the richest man in the world need all that for? Everybody dumping his stock and dropping out of his stock because this, that, and the third, and thinking that they're going to bankrupt this person and going to the competitor. Yeah, y'all be back in a couple of years. Y'all be back in a couple of years when the next scandal come out. Y'all will be back. Like, y'all are so fake. This is what Kanye was talking about. This fake selected outrage. Y'all be outraged over the wrong things. This man, Elon, man, he a good dude, bro. He a good dude. He going out there getting our money back, and hopefully they can send us some checks based on the money that they spent. There's no reason why our money should be going to different countries to do drag shows, bro. Let's be real. Let's be real. And I want every person who has something to do with that prosecuted to the furthest extent of the law. I want them in jail. They were stealing our money, people, American people. They were stealing our money. Yeah, we sending people back to their country and stuff. Shout out to that one Maryland man who got, grabbed up in a situation. He in El Salvador right now. I understand. I understand that you grieving and whatever your family. But guess what? Why ain't you speak up when they was arresting you? Why ain't you show them your papers? You could have said several things that would have showed that you were an American citizen. You could have said several things that could have showed that you were an American citizen. You could have said several things that would have showed that you're an American citizen, but you chose not to. Maybe you chose to be silent. I don't know. Maybe you tried to tell them, but it was too late after they had already asked you several questions. I don't know. But if you're a Maryland man and you're an American citizen and you were born here and you got shipped down to El Salvador, I feel your pain, bro. You know what I mean? Not personally. You feel me? You know what I mean? On a surface level, I feel your pain. But we gotta start using common sense. If I'm in another country, I'm walking around my papers, my documentation. Because I don't know, they can start tripping. And thank God I belong to the greatest country in the world, United States of America. I could just go to one of their embassies and they'll get me up out of there if something was to happen to me, something like that. You feel me? But we gotta start moving smarter. Y'all over here taking the Tesla issue to the customer and the consumer and the people who run the factories and stuff like that. Nah, go to the source. Civil rights, they was going to the source. You think the source is spray painting, keying, vandalism, things that are going to get you not able to live in apartment buildings or houses and could cause jail time for a long extended period of time. It's funny how things could go from a felony to a misdemeanor and all that. And even back to the Vlad thing I was talking about earlier. Think about this. There's this dude, his name is Keefe, and I want y'all to really hear me. All y'all street dudes and all y'all people in the life of crime, I want y'all to really hear me. There's this guy, his name is Keefe. Keefe was on Vlad TV talking about how he was involved in a Tupac shooting. He kept running his mouth, right? Well, Keefe wound up getting caught or sent to jail somehow, or they bagged him for that. They said, "Oh, really? You the person that did that? You the last remaining person? All right, cool. Come with me. You going in." While he was in holding or in jail or whatever, waiting for his trial, somebody tried him. He did something to that person. Now Keefe got 1 to 20 years in jail for doing something, for defending himself in prison. Think about that. You went to jail because you was talking reckless about what you did to Tupac and this, that, and the third, and how involved you was. Then when you get in jail, you pick up another case that has nothing to do with the reason why you're in jail. And now you're not coming home ever again. More than likely. Never again. It'd be stuff like that. And it'd also be stuff like this next topic I'm about to talk about. Shout out to Abercrombie and Fitch. Welcome to today's segment. Chewy's got charges. Let's hear what we talking about today, Abercrombie.
Former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, Michael Jeffries, Matthew Smith, and James Jacobson on charges of sex trafficking and engaging in interstate prostitution. So here's what's alleged in the indictment. Jeffries and Smith employed James Jacobson to act as a recruiter to find men. Jacobson engaged in, quote, tryouts with men across the world where he would typically pay them to engage in sex acts with him. Following the tryouts with Jacobson, Smith would often then personally approve whether the men who were selected would meet Jeffries and Smith. The defendants would fly the selected men to Jeffries and Smith's homes in the Hamptons in New York City or to hotels around the world in such places as England, France, Italy, Morocco, and St. Bart's for the purpose of attending events to engage in commercial sex.
Man, that's who y'all looking at on the screen right now. That is exactly who you looking at on the screen right now. These men should be ashamed of themselves using their own money and all that for their sexual gratification, preying on young men who wanted money and fame and all that good stuff. Actually, in my eyes, I blame these young men because they were all, I believe, over the age of 18, so they should know what common sense is. No one tells you to go out there and sell your ass. Nobody said sell your ass. There's choices in everything that we do. Kanye once said slavery was a choice. Everyone laughed at him. I was one of those people that actually believed him. Yeah, there was a choice. You need to be slaved or be killed. But then, again, there were options. Some people waited, plotted like Nat Turner. Others, they just went along with the get along. Pick that cotton and get cracked with that whip. But that's another day, another time, for another story. But back to the case at hand. This man really believed that he was going to P. Diddy his way out of the situation. Allegedly. And sorry to Diddy, because they making you the face of everything when, honestly, these are grown, consenting adults that chose to do the things that they're doing. And then they're having buyer's remorse at the end of the day. It's a little crazy, people. It's a little crazy. Now, here's my question to you all. Do you think that this Michael Jeffries should be in trouble for using his money and influence to prey on vulnerable young men, as they say, for their own sexual gratification? Do you think he should be held responsible? Because when you think about it, in life, people try to get the most amount of money that they can have so they can live the best life that they can have, that money could pay for. Now, if somebody is willing to do immoral things for money, such as maybe becoming a male model and getting things done to you and thinking that it's okay, if somebody's willing to do this and they're of age, why is it any of our business? Why are you bringing this to the light of the people in the world? Why are you making it seem like you're the true victim? Because at some point, it becomes extortion. At some point, you decided to do that because you wanted that spot in that magazine. You wanted that spot on that cover. And as wrong as this is, it's right at the same time. Play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. You played a stupid game. What was the stupid game? You went over there thinking that life was easy, quick money was good money, and you could just get away with anything. You didn't want to listen to anything nobody told you as a kid when you were growing up. Like a lot of people who wind up in these situations, they're usually not good people. They're usually people who did not listen to their parents, their grandmother, or they didn't have any background behind them or any backing. That's usually what they look like. But here's the question. Back to the question. Is it Mr. Michael Jeffries, former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch's fault that these people agreed to do these things? Now back to PeaCoat in the Morning. Now, beautiful people, what do we learn from today's show today? It's one common theme. Stop letting people trick you out of your position. You're already great. You're already amazing. Do not allow people's negative energy to filter into your bloodstream and start telling yourself the opposite of what I'm saying. Excel and prosper. That's all we're about here at the Maryland Melatonin Network. Thank y'all for joining me this week. And remember, we got a show every Sunday. Check us out.
Hey friends, are you forgetting the most important thing? Who you represent? Who are you there to support? Who is in your corner? Are you there for the God or are you there for the devil? Because if you're there for God, make sure you download Bible Gateway. This is somewhere where you can get the Bible on the move, where you can either read it yourself or highlight passages, or you can do my favorite thing, which is listen to the audiobook of the Bible. Catch any verse any time of the day at Bible Gateway. Download the app.